Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Sophie, and we are doing one of the last builds for my island honeydew. So let's just jump right into this. So today we are basically building a land bridge, and it's going to extend back from this little housing area that I had previously built, and then it's going to connect to this big cliff in the very back of the island where I'm going to put the campsite. I thought it would just be really cute kind of having it back away from the houses, so it's almost like, you know, if you just need like a little weekend getaway, you can go camping and you're still not too horribly far from home. I thought it would be just a good location for the campsite. And for the land bridge, it's basically just a big straight line, but then I put in these little areas here and there, like you can see right now, where it's kind of more crooked, like curvy. I wanted it to be a really natural looking one, like not just perfectly straight. And this is the final shape that I went with. It's really crazy, and I do adjust it as time goes on. Please ignore that box sitting there. It should not be there. And yeah, I just connected it to this huge cliff in the back. And then it was time to do the waterscaping. There's a lot of waterscaping in this build. Honestly though, it turned out so good. I think this might be one of my favorite builds I've ever done, and I seriously mean that. I know I say that a lot, but this is by far the best build on this island, I would say, and probably just one of the best builds I've ever done. I freaking love it. So I basically went in, added a bunch of little waterfalls to the land bridge, and then I basically was working on connecting things up. I like having the waterfalls connect to stuff, so like I put that little pond there. I tried to be very strategic with where I placed the waterfalls just so it would like look really good. Some of them I had to kind of finick with because they looked silly, but that's how I kind of did the waterfalls. And then I started building in, I have a river outlet over to the right of this spot, and I just connected the water to it. One of my favorite things to do with river outlets is just kind of making them a huge kind of lake thing. You know, instead of it just being a straight river, it just like opens up into a huge body of water, which is basically what I did here. So I just started working from all of those waterfalls, like extending the water out to kind of outline where we're going to have this huge kind of sunken lake thing. And I added in lots of flowers and plants and decorations, and I kind of did that as I went. I knew I wanted to have little floating islands with like plants and stuff. So as I went, I would say, okay, let me quick put in this tree and then add the flowers around it. And then I would sort of dig away the water. Yeah, and honestly, I think this is so stinking cute. This island in general, I didn't want it to be too tropical, but this area I did do a little more tropical. The idea was it's supposed to kind of be like a tide pool. I don't know if that really came across in the end, but that's why I did put some seashells here. Is, you know, you're supposed to kind of think like these are just little ocean critters that live here, and it does make sense since this water is connected to the ocean with the river mouth. But I just love how I did this, and I made it very natural, just tons of flowers, weeds. The beach over here, I basically also decorated with weeds and little baby flower seedlings, a couple of full-sized flowers. I just wanted to keep it very natural and overgrown because, you know, that's just my favorite kind of stuff to do in a build. And then I basically did the same thing over on the left side. I just dug out a bunch more waterfalls, made it look really cute. I did some big ones. I did some little, I love doing those little corner ones where it's just a little roundish kind of waterfall. And then again, I just extended things out. I wanted it to look very natural. So like I did leave some chunks of land here where I filled in plants and flowers. I think sometimes when you totally fill in the water, you end up with a lot of like weird, sharp right angles. And so I just decided in some of the weirder spots, I would just not dig the water away. Because I kind of hate, like, you know, you see that like kind of right up above where that yellow tulip is. There's just that little triangle bit of land. I kind of hate that, but there's literally no way to dig the waterway away on that diagonal. So I tried to be strategic with where I was digging it away, not have too many of those ugly, harsh angle clumps. And I just, yeah, kind of left the land sit behind. And yeah, I also in a lot of places added vines. I tried to add as many vines in as I possibly could, but it's very finicky. Like it doesn't want to let you dig the water away or add water, I guess, too close to the vines. So it was a little hard to add them in, but I tried my best to make it have tons and tons of vines just really filled in. And then this part, I didn't really know how far I wanted the lake to extend out, but I did realize that the cliffs were really, really tall, kind of close to this area. Like I have like my house up on a third level and it kind of blocks a lot. So I decided, I'm not going to really do a huge build there. So I just made this a really big lake that filled in the whole area behind my house because I thought that that would be, you can see here, yeah, my house is like blocking everything down there. So I was like, you know what? Let me just fill it in with water, continue this build. I think that will look better than trying to sneak a full build in and then it's just ruined by having my house in the way. Yeah, and then I decided it was time to actually start decorating, kind of move on since the waterscaping was mostly done. I didn't do a ton over on this side since I knew I would want to put a build into this left area. So I kind of just moved on to focus on everything else, like filling in this land bridge. I really love how I put like lots of trees and plants and stuff on here. So it looks really, really natural. And I tried to use the trees and the bushes to kind of cover up some of those awkward, like sharp edges and angles like I talked about. And then for the bridge itself, I used a lot of these cute little wooden planks, and then where the path was too thin, I just put down little pieces of dirt. That's one of my favorite things to do, just alternating like the in-game dirt with custom code. I really love just alternating codes in general. I feel like that's one of my biggest design things is not, when you use one code a ton, it just starts to look very monotonous. So I love varying all the different textures and the shapes and paths, and this is how the land bridge turned out. Honestly, I am obsessed. I think it's so stunning. I think I actually want to build a land bridge like this on my Forever Island Peach. I've had land bridges on it in the past, of course. Everyone's probably done a land bridge at some point. If you haven't, give it a try. It's honestly so fun. There's so many different ways to do it. But yeah, I think I literally want to recreate this build on my island because it's so freaking pretty. Of course, mine will be a lot less like beachy tropical vibes, but that's the fun of it. You can really make this work for any theme you want. I've even done land bridges for like my city type islands or, a winter island. You can do anything. And then it was a matter of kind of continuing all the decoration down on this lower level. I did add in a bunch of cliffs to kind of connect to those little waterfalls. I just thought it would look a little more natural. I kind of hate when the waterfalls just sort of stop, like they don't come from anywhere. I really prefer it when they connect to another body of water. I just think it looks more natural. And I put an incline in there. And then of course I had to move the campsite and I just tucked it way in the back here. And then it's time to actually decorate. So these kids' tents, they are actually a modded item. The fabrics are different from what you can get. I don't know why these aren't customizable. I feel like these items should have been something that you could use your own custom designs on or use like the sable patterns. I don't know why they only come in specific colors because I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like you should be able to put any fabric you want on them. But unfortunately, we can only do that with the modding software right now. So that's what I did for this because I wanted it to be very neutral and plain. And I could have just used like the kids' tent that comes in plain white, but I thought having just a ton of white tents would be boring. And since I do have a spicy switch, I was like, why not just download it and use it and work with it? But yeah, overall, this is a pretty simple build. If you wanted to try creating it, it's basically just all these tents centered around some blankets. And then I filled in this area here with just a random grass path. You can use like a dirt path, really whatever you want. Of course, lots of plants and flowers. I just wanted it really, really natural and overgrown because that's definitely just my favorite kind of builds to do. And yeah, I really, really like how this stuff turns out because it's honestly so easy to put together, but it still looks really, really good. And then of course, I had to decorate these blankets with like a whole picnic setup. I love setting down tons of like foods and books and goodies. It's just my favorite thing. I think a picnic is just my go-to build. Whenever I don't know what I want to do with something, I just slap down a blanket coat and some picnicky stuff. And then this item here, obviously very much a modded item. It's actually based on something from Pocket Camp, and it's one of my favorite Pocket Camp items. So I was really excited to be able to use this for my island. But of course, if you don't have a modded Switch, you could probably just do the normal campfire item with a blanket code, and it'll still look really cute. I just wanted to make use of this item since I'd seen the mod for it existed. Because I couldn't resist. But here is the final build. This stunning, amazing land bridge. I'm so freaking in love with how it turned out. I love this little camp area. It just feels so cozy and cute, and I just love it. I'm not a camping person, I will say, but I could maybe be forced to go camping if the campsite was gonna be this cute and aesthetic and just gorgeous. And oh my god, I love this little like s'mores roasting area. I think it's just so perfect. Every island could use a little s'more toasting area. And yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Maybe it gave you some terraforming inspiration or a little decorating inspiration on what the heck to do with your campsite. I know I always struggle with that personally. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up, maybe even subscribe perhaps, be a little crazy. Yeah, and I will see you in the next one. It'll be our last video decorating on Honeydew. Oh my god, this island is almost done. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, I've said bye like 6 times now, so yeah, bye. Stay peachy.